should do as Europe and many other countries do, which is to vote only in person with picture ID, using paper poll books and paper ballots that are hand counted and reported using no machines, all on a single day. So the question is, it doesn't matter what the law is.
Okay.
You've probably heard people say, we need to have single day, we need to have paper ballots, we need to have ID, all of those things we need to have.
Yes.
Regardless of what the law is, where do you stand on doing that? If you could wave your magic wand.
If I can wave my magic wand, voting in person, absolutely. I'm not a big fan of vote by mail. If you make your request, if you remember to make your request, if it gets entered in the system, if the post office delivers it to you, if you mark your ballot, if you return your ballot in the envelope, we received countless envelopes that were empty with no ballot inside. If the post office gets it back to us, if there's a ballot in it, and if your signature matches, it would get counted. Otherwise, you had to go through a cure process. That was a lot of ifs. Election day or early voting, here's your ID, here's your ballot, have a nice day. Cuts out many of those things. I'm trying to remember, picture ID, absolutely, without question. What were the other?
Paper poll books.
Paper poll books. Paper poll books, I don't dislike them. In fact, in 2016, we used them as a backup to our system. We had electronic poll books. The electronic poll books, the data export was corrupted. Our poll workers went to the backup plan of pulling out the paper registers, and all precincts opened on time. The voters were turned away. We finished as early or earlier that night than we normally had finished. The paper poll books are the hindrance. The downside of those is you can move from one precinct to another in Florida. I know you said regardless of laws, but the electronic poll books let you know when you move from one, or when you have already voted one another. Electronic poll books let you move a voter from one county into another. It keeps you from having to process the paper registers. Paper registers, we would use when a voter would vote, they would circle the ballot style on the paper register, sign the register, and the clerk would initial. Well, sometimes as they're talking to the voter, they would forget to put their initial, or they'd forget to circle the ballot style number. So if you only had one of the three marks, did the person vote? We had to guess. If it's electronic poll book, you typically swipe your driver's license, and you know for sure. Hand counting, not a fan. Not a fan. Saw a demo a few weeks ago. There was only 12 ballots, 3 groups counted them, and at least two of the three groups made a mistake in their counts. We would use a hand audit after an election. There's Florida statute gives you two options: one, an automatic audit, or a hand audit. One race was picked, 2 candidates. We broke the ballots up into 3 groups: first candidate, second candidate, undervote. The teams counted the ballots. We knew what the numbers were from election day. Their count was off from election day. We asked the team, could you count again? They said, sure. They counted it the second time. The numbers were still off. We put the ballots into a high-speed machine. It told us how many we had of candidate 1 in the stack and a few from candidate 2. So the machine had to tell us where the mistake was. The team went through, pulled out the second candidate's ballots, and then everything balanced. If we had done it by hand, counted by hand initially, you would have had those kinds of problems.
Thank you.
Is there any more?
No, that's good. You're good. You're good. You're covered it. Jan,